stream. So yeah, I'll have this coffee and I'll do this mentoring session, and we'll see how it goes. There's something really important that I want to talk about today, and I'd love the opportunity to talk more about this on a podcast show, which I know I'll get because I've really enjoyed it, and to make more videos because it would massively help all of you. It will help people from all around the world, or at least people that want the help, right? Because you can't, well, you can't force people to do anything. You can't force help on people, but for people that do want it. So let me drink this coffee. Right, how's it going? You know what? I prefer it if you not call me Jonathan. You know, it doesn't. Um, it does bother me actually. I understand it's not. It's no one's fault because I used to use the name Johnny. Johnny is short. Actually, I don't mind it that much, but I do prefer my full name. But if anyone of you call me Johnny, then that's fine. Right. Um, let's see. Let's see how many people come on. I didn't plan this stream today. I woke up and I paid my council tax bill, and it inspired me to do this. And I've been kind of thinking about this scenario for a long time. Let's see if we get a few more people on. Right. I'm a bit tired. I had a really good session yesterday. I always enjoy the sessions with Phil. They're brilliant. It was a 3 hour one, and yeah, I just feel a little bit tired. I'm just waking up with this coffee. Okay, so anxiety triggers. I'm gonna start off with a story from my life, man. Every time I say that, I get a voice in my head that says I'm old. When you start telling stories, you know that you're a bit old. It's a bit of a joke. There's a lot of truth in it. Okay, it's a story, and it will basically it will give the teaching, and it will explain what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so years ago, many years ago, there was a guy around my area that was bullying me. I was really frightened of him. You know, many people were frightened of him. He had um, he had a reputation. I don't particularly know for what, but he was just quite a feared. You know, people were scared of him, and I was frightened of him. And he looked mean, and he seemed really confident. And he was, you know, he was one of the popular kids, and I wasn't. I lived on an estate, but there were different departments on my estate, and he lived on a different block. Anyway, he started to bully me, right, intimidate me, to the point where I didn't want to come out my house, and I didn't for a period of time. And I go back to this memory. It's a fond memory now, because of I guess because it's how it changed me as a person, and how it played a big part in helping me to help many of my clients, maybe some of you. So how old was I? I was definitely in my teens. I was at school at this time. I was about was I about 16, maybe younger than 16, something around that, maybe 15, 14, 16, somewhere in that area. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere between 14, 15, and 16. And so he started bullying me. You know, he didn't like physically hit me or anything, but it was coming to that. You know, he was looking at me, he was bullying me socially, and I was scared to look at him. You know, all that kind of stuff. So I remember I was at my mum and dad's. I was obviously at home, and we live in a tower block, and I was up in my room, which is you know, it's high up, and I was scared to come out of my room. I wanted to go out with my friends, but I was afraid that if I went out, I would see this person that was bullying me, so I didn't want to run into him. And obviously, the area is not that big, so chances are at some point throughout the day, I'm going to see him. And another fear that I had was, well, if I see him in front of people and I don't do anything, I'm going to look like a coward. Everyone's going to, you know, everyone's not going to respect me, that type of thing. So I remember just being at home and being stuck in a mini depression, and I was scared. I was anxious. I was worried, but I was angry. I was angry at him, angry at myself for feeling feeling ashamed that I could let someone bully me and make me so frightened that I didn't want to come out of my own house to go out with my friends and enjoy my life. So I basically was allowing him to put fear into me to the point where I couldn't enjoy my life anymore. And I was stuck in what I would call a mini depression. You know, I was depressed because it's like I loved going out with my friends. That was like, when you're younger, it means everything to you. It meant everything to me, all of us. That's what we loved, you know. Your family first, your faith, this is my personal thing, and then kind of at the same time all your friends. And I had a lot of friends at that time, which is nice. A lot of close friends. I had like there was like 4, 5, 6, 7 of us, all close friends, all knew each other, all knew each other's mums, dads, went to each other's houses. So to be deprived of that, it destroyed me. It really did. So when I was at home in my room, I was like, I don't want to go out because I don't want to face my anxiety trigger. If I see him, it's going to trigger me. I'm going to get terrified if I see him, and that frightens me. So although he's external, he's a person, he's another man at the time, about my age. I was about 14 or 15, he was about the same age. He seemed, I think he was a bit bigger than me. I can't remember if he was taller than me or if I was a bit taller than him, but he was stockier than me, and I was frightened of him. And I didn't think that I could beat him in a fight, and I was scared. So I remember being in my room and thinking, I suppose it is a moment of becoming aware and thinking, hang on a minute, what am I doing? Am I going to allow this person to basically imprison me in my own house? Like, he's put me in a lockdown before we even had this lockdown. Am I going to let him do this to me? Am I going to let my own mind bully me and keep me at home where I'm allowed to go out? It's not like my parents are saying you can't go out. I'm free to go out. And I just remember thinking, I kept going back and forth, but what if I see him? What if he bullies me? You know, what if I don't want to see him? What if he beats me up? What if he humiliates me in front of other people? What if I'm stuck with him and I'm trapped? I can't get away and he's just doing whatever he wants to me, insulting me, hitting me. He might even try and rob me, I don't know. And from nowhere, that's where my courage came. That's where my strength came. I said, I'm not having this. I'm not letting them do this to me, because the suffering of worrying is far worse than the actual bullying that he can do to me right now, because I'm being bullied by my own fears, my own demons. They're really getting off on that. The mind will do that. So this is far worse. I'd rather him just give me a beating. I'm going to face him. I'm going to stand up to him. I'm not letting him do this to me. I ain't done anything wrong. I'm innocent. I'm not a nasty person. I don't want to fight. I'm not letting him do this to me. So I remember I got my jacket on. Funny, I've got my jacket on now. I got my jacket on. I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do this. I didn't tell my mum or my dad or friends. I went out on my own. I don't know how I did it, and I went and looked for him. Can you imagine that, the courage that took from that position that I was in? So I went and walked in the estate, and then went outside of the estate down to Queensway, Bayswater. Some of you might know the area, but it's not that important if you don't, near Notting Hill. And I don't know how I knew, and I found him. He was coming across the road. I was outside a shopping centre at the time, and you know, I used psychology on him to stand up to him, because for me, I didn't want to get into a fight, but I would have done if I had to. So when he walked past, I said, "Hey man," I said, "How are you doing? You all right? How's your day been?" You know, with that sort of tone. And he said, "You're crazy, man. You're crazy." And I just was smiling, and I said, "Hey man, let's be friends, let's hang out," or something like that. Never bullied me again, because he knew what I meant by that. He knew what that meant. We both knew, and that was it. He never bullied me again. I didn't even have to fight him. He didn't hit me. And that was facing an anxiety trigger. And when I did that, I was so happy the whole day. And that's the premise of what I'm teaching today. Now, I'm not saying go stand up to a bully, even though, yeah, that's correct. But this is a lesson on how to face fear and anxiety. I'm not going to cover that, to be honest, Marvin. That's not my subject anymore. In regards to dating advice, relationship, probably best getting advice from someone who does that. That's not what I'm teaching anymore. So sorry, I can't help you with that on that question. Sorry about that. So as I said, obviously, I learned about fear and anxiety from that experience, and many of those. I'm trying to stay on this one because I'll end up deviating onto so many. And the main moral of the story is it's better to face your anxiety as quick as you possibly can in your life, whatever it is, whether it's paying your rent, whether it's leaving your house, whether it's public speaking, whether it's standing up to a bully, whether it's social anxiety, financial anxiety, whatever the anxiety is, whatever is really, really bothering you and keeping you stuck, it's better to face it as quick as you can. Because when you face it, you find freedom, you feel great. An example that I always give, again, I learnt this from the amateurs in Fitzroy Lodge in boxing. I was presented again with the same, it's a different scenario, but it's the same premise. I've said this before, that a lot of the times, and we all do it, which is fine, we separate and we differentiate certain fears and anxieties, not realizing that it's really all the same. The label is different, the scenario is different, but the actual feelings are the same. So the fear and the anxiety that I experienced at that time in my life when I was getting bullied around my area by that particular guy was the same feelings and fears and anxiety that I had when I first went to a job interview. Same feelings. Yeah, the situation's different, and I sometimes it might be less scary. It's the same feeling though. It's the same. You're dealing with the same stuff: fear, anxiety, fight or flight, adrenaline, worry, panic, overthinking, worrying, catastrophizing, worrying about the future. It's all that. It's the same. And when you understand that, then you're in a better position to deal with your anxieties more and to overcome them, and gain what you want to gain, the confidence, the freedom, obviously, so you can live a better life. Again, moral of the story is, at that particular time, I was allowing that bully, that guy around my area, to stop me enjoying my life. I had a great life. All my friends, obviously I was young at that time. I was getting ready to maybe go university or, the second part of school. I was getting ready to do something with my life, and I was allowing him to stop that and keep me trapped, keep me stuck in my own house, because the fear got the better of me at that time until the fear drove me mad. I said, I'm not allowing this anymore. I made a commitment to be brave. And when I did that, obviously I stood up to him and he stopped bullying me because I was no longer afraid of him. We didn't become best friends, but a little bit down the line, it's a funny story, maybe I won't go too much into it, but he asked me for my help and I gave it to him. He was being bullied by somebody else. And, I think we spent a few hours together, and I felt a bit sorry for him. And, that was nice that we were able to have some kind of friendship, which is always, for me, the best outcome, if that is possible. So whatever all of you are going through, coffee, it's about making a commitment. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's, for the most part, it's terrifying. When you're really frightened of something or someone, it's not easy to find the courage to be brave when you're scared inside and go and live your life. And that's why mentorship's so important and so helpful. A lot of people don't know that because they've never had mentorship. When you've got a mentor, you've got support. Now, obviously, at that time, I didn't have a mentor. Didn't even know what a mentor was. I was 14. I could have told my dad, but I was too scared to tell my dad, didn't know how he'd react, or my mum, so I had to do it on my own. Now, of course, there's times where we've got to do things on our own as men and women, or young or older adults, but you can't do everything on your own. And that's why it's good to get a mentor to give you that support and that wisdom and that help. And that's a strength, it's not a weakness. So with anxiety triggers, there's two ways to face them. You can face them on your own if you can pluck up the courage, which you can, but sometimes you can't. You need to get a mentor to give you the help and support. Because it's hard when you're on your own. It's scary, it's lonely, you know, you feel like you're trapped. And to some extent you are, whilst you're in that position. Now, I love this subject, as you can tell, because the subject is very dear to my heart from growing up and having real struggles at times with fear and anxiety and being stuck in my own life, but then finding the courage, thank God, thank the goodness in people, thank my own courage, finding that courage and facing it and getting unstuck and feeling what I feel now. Great, blessed, happy, joyful, wanting to share, wanting to help other people. You know, in a position more where you're able to love people more. That's never a negative thing. And feel good about yourself. So you unstuck yourself from making a commitment to be brave, whatever it is. And again, it's not about differentiating. You know, I had to face some fears again this morning. I had to face the fear of paying my council tax, which is quite a triggering thing. If everybody's honest, money is a big trigger for everybody, especially paying bills. But I've got more experience now with dealing with the adrenaline, the fight or flight, that paying my council tax triggers me. Because of what we're taught growing up, we're taught to be afraid of money, authority, bills, not having enough money, or losing our money, or stress, or having to get on the phone. All those things are triggering until you face them enough times or you handle them, and that's a beautiful thing. This is how you live a better life and be a better person, by learning to manage your anxieties, confront them, overcome the ones that you can overcome, and learn to manage the ones that are they're hard to budge. But that's fine, because you've got the next best thing. You know, it's not like every single fear and anxiety needs to fully be gone for you to live a good life. No, that's not true. That's unrealistic. But if you can manage them to the point where they're not stopping you from living your life and enjoying life each and every day, and being a better person and being good to other people and having boundaries, then that's great. I didn't feel like doing this live stream today. It's triggering, but I wanted to help more of you, and here I am doing it, and I feel great 18 minutes in. I feel blessed because I faced that trigger. So honesty is important with anxiety. A lot of people are afraid to be honest, ashamed, embarrassed, insecure, worrying about what other people think. But what you need to understand is that's not intelligent, and that's not mature, and that's not true. And I'm not judging you for feeling that, but I'm helping you to see things in a better way, because everybody that you're worried about judging you has got the same anxiety, if not more, or maybe less than you've got, but they've got it. So it doesn't really make sense to worry about what the next human being will think, because you've got fears and anxieties, because fear and anxiety is beautiful, it's normal. Now, I don't mean, obviously it's not nice when it's really high, because it's not a nice feeling, but I'm saying that we all feel it. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. But it's about how do you respond to it. That's where, you know, the testament of courage lies for people, for men and women of all generations and all backgrounds, and today we're here today. So it's not really about, I said this to a client, I said, look, it's good that you admit your fears, because that takes courage, and that's part of what I have taught for a long time. But you need to do more than that. if you want to achieve your goals and be a better person, which he is. He said, and he got it. I said, because we could all just go, we're all afraid. I'm afraid, you know. Yeah, we're all afraid. Okay, what are we going to do about it? Support one another. Let's face it. Let's conquer it. Let's learn. Let's live. That's really the answer. So both of those things take courage to go, yeah, I am afraid. Yeah, I'm scared to, um, I'm afraid to pay my rent, not because I don't want to pay my rent, but because my rent is triggering. It triggers my trauma from my childhood. It triggers my anxieties about money, not having enough money, or having a lot of money, or dealing with people, getting on the phone when I'm not feeling in the mood today. That's honest, but I'm going to face it. I'm going to face it, and then you face it and you feel great for overcoming it. And then you've got that honest confession. Then you don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody thinks about me when I'm being honest, truthful. I'm being the best person I can be. I'm facing my fears and helping people, and I'm confronting my own fears. I'm not worried about what they think, because I value exercising my courage more and experiencing joy, gratitude, humility, peace, appreciation. I value that more than what someone who's being critical or negative or nasty or being a bully thinks or says. And funny enough, we're talking about the premise of standing up to bullying, but not necessarily an actual bully like a troll online, but our own anxieties which bully us. They bully us if we don't stand up to them. Right or wrong? It's correct what I'm saying. And getting that out is really helpful. So that's a story from my childhood. And I'm pleased to say, I'm pleased that I was able to find friendship. Both of us were, which is nice because I don't like fighting. Don't never enjoyed hurting someone or someone hurting me. I'm not that sort of person, but wouldn't stand for bullying eventually. But I was pleased that that particular gentleman, when I was younger, played a huge part in me changing my life and the lives of so many people, because those lessons taught me the tools and the skills that I'm using today. I couldn't do this live stream at certain times of my life because I didn't have the courage to do it. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't believe in myself. I cared too much about what other people would think about me. And I didn't trust my own capabilities with my own voice. I didn't trust that I wouldn't start stuttering and running out of things to say. But because of going through those experiences where I was afraid and I did get stuck, whether it was someone actually bullying me around my area or it was my own fears and insecurities and my own mind bullying me, I know how it feels to be stuck, to feel stressed, to feel hopeless, and to feel like things are never going to change. I like that story as well because I like the way that I'm not saying we became best friends. You know, we didn't go to each other's houses and meet our parents, but there was some friendship there. Like I said later on, he came and asked for my help because he was afraid and he was getting some trouble, some bullying from another kid around my area, and he felt on his own, and I happily gave him the help, and I felt good that he called upon me for help. They needed a bit someone to talk to, and it was nice. It made me feel good. Why not? That's a good thing. Right, so that's that story done. But all of the methodology, if you can listen carefully, I know it's not easy, you need a lot of patience, but I believe a lot of you will if you really want to do it. I'd appreciate it if all of you did. I'd be a little bit disappointed if none of you appreciated what I'm saying today and you didn't value it, you didn't get anything from it. But I could handle that. I really could. I've handled it many times, and again, can't force all of you to appreciate part of my story or what I'm trying to explain to help you in your life. But it's a gratitude just to be and have an opportunity. So it's making a commitment. When you're in that position of fear, whether it's, like I said, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's because anxiety shows up in all different kind of ways. Some people have got anxiety with just getting out of bed. We've all been there. So wherever your anxiety is, whether it's keeping you stuck, find the courage to face it, because you're a lot stronger than, believe me, people are a lot stronger than they think they are, than they know they are. That is a fact in my experience. I've seen it with so many clients who say, pretty much they say that I can't do that. I can't face my fears, Jonathan. I can't do it. A session later, or sometimes an hour later, I go, well, you did it. Or next month, I can't handle my financial stress, or I can't handle business, or I can't handle a difficult person in my life who's toxic and draining me, and I'm afraid to have boundaries and stop hanging out with them. I can't do it. I'm scared. I don't want to hurt their feelings or hurt my own feelings. And I say, well, if you do it with kindness, if you do it with love, you don't have to be nasty. You don't have to be a bully. I actually don't want you to do that. But you've got to stand up for yourself. If you're hanging out with someone, and I know it's difficult, and you love them, and they're affecting your mental health, they're making you feel depressed, even suicidal potentially, down, they're draining you, they're not respecting you, you have to stand up for yourself and stop spending time with them. Otherwise, you're going to feel trapped, you're going to feel isolated, you're going to feel stuck, you're going to feel angry, resentful, depressed, massive anxiety, and you're not going to enjoy your life. That's not fair. So you can do it in the right way. I know I'm getting old because it's time to tell the stories. And before, I didn't feel the urge to tell lots of stories in my life. Obviously, timing and where you're at, and whatever the case may be. So yeah, take your time, ladies and gentlemen, all of you. I said this to a client yesterday, and I practice it, to take this in. There's no rush, and there is a rush, if that makes sense. Because this is a big deal. It's not easy to do, but you can do it, and all of you will do it eventually. You will face your anxiety triggers in your life, and they're usually in the same areas for everyone. It usually is with relationships with other human beings, finances, health, creativity. It's always the same kind of areas. And of course, within those major areas where we've all got fears, and they're all meaningful to us, depending on, again, where you're at, what you value, there's lots of little triggers and mini ones on a day-to-day basis, which is why I say it's daily discipline. It's weird, isn't it? We all go through things in our childhood that affect us, for however long they affect us, right? It's different for everybody because it depends on you, whether you get therapy, whether you get mentorship, whether you talk about it, whether you forgive, you overcome it. But for me, in this situation, it's no longer a bad memory. It's a good memory, like I said, because it ended well, and the value that I got from that experience is priceless. And to be able to share it with other people and help them, even though obviously that was in the past. I'm 40 years young right now, to some of you, you'd say, I'm old, I'm 40 years old. I can accept that as well. This was, this happened, well, like 25 years ago, 25, 26 years ago. But now I can share it on YouTube or in today's time, and it can make a difference to someone. And many of you would have gone through a similar experience in your childhood. Someone, you know, someone would have bullied you. I think everyone's gone through it at some point. All right, Timmy, how you doing? I need to do a playlist on YouTube, and I need to do a category of stories from my life and separate them into departments so they can help people, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, the moral of the story today is that I stood up to a bully, thank God, without having to use physical force, where he didn't hit me, I didn't hit him, but I did it, you know, I did it with courage, but with communication, basically, and what I learned from that and how it resolved any problems. And then I've got a lot of experience boxing in the amateurs, and I had an amateur boxing match and I got beat, and there was a lot of lessons I learned from that, and I can share that. And then, you know, I started a business, public speaking, I had a mental health breakdown. So lots of different events in my life where it's kind of the same lesson over and over again, but in different scenarios, different situations. And I think a lot of people will resonate and connect with some of the stories that I've been through, and they might share exactly the same or similar, and it will help people, definitely. It's also, for me, quite fun to talk about. I don't know how long all of you have been following me. I appreciate however long it's been. But, you know, and I do enjoy those videos. You know, the classic type of videos that a lot of the therapists do, the anxiety teachers, the coaches, the mentors, which I still do and I love. You know, when I do a long YouTube video with a mic and I say, you know, in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you, you know, how to overcome social anxiety, or how to overcome, I don't know, how to, you know, improve your diet. And then I go into the video and give you tips for about 15 minutes. That's fun. But if I'm honest, at the moment, I'm enjoying more sharing stories from my life, where back in the day I wouldn't have enjoyed that. I didn't want to talk about it. It wasn't fun for me. But then obviously, you know, you change as you get older, or you go through different seasons where that feels right, that doesn't feel relevant. But I'll do all of them anyway. I really enjoy it when it's appropriate and my clients share their story with me in sessions. And I really like to listen and not interrupt, and hear their story. It's fascinating. It's amazing. It's inspiring. You know, you get to know the person more. You get to know why they are the way they are. You know, what their values are, what they've been through. You know, all those things. It's fun. It's really interesting. I think it's like, you know, that's why we love movies, because it's storytelling or story sharing, because stories inspire you. You can get your questions in, you know, some of you. I kind of shared the story. I'm just processing it, having this coffee. I might share a few more things. I'm just getting more ideas as I'm on this stream now, because there's a lot more things I want to do on the channel, the platform. I don't know if any of you've seen recently, I've done a couple of new podcast shows that I've really enjoyed, really appreciate that you could watch. I shared my story there. Obviously, it's challenging sharing my story because there's so much to share, and sometimes I don't have time to share all of it. But I just shared certain segments that are on my heart, that are relevant at that time to help other people. This is lovely, man. I don't know if any of you tried it. Try it if you wanted. I don't always do it, but I put a bit of cinnamon in the coffee, and it's I don't know, I think cinnamon's good for you, I checked, and I just get a nice warm feeling when I'm drinking this. It's nice. I can't have it all the time though, it can be a bit sickly, but once in a while it's nice. So yeah, with anxiety triggers, I was going to say with the word obviously, but maybe it won't be obvious for everybody because I can't presume that everybody is going to be at the same place with their anxiety. Some of you, not that it's a competition, but some people are more experienced than others, but everyone can catch up to speed. So there's no competition. It's really you with yourself. So yeah, obviously some anxiety triggers are a lot worse than others, a lot stronger. Maybe I shouldn't use the word worse. Let me erase that word. That's a bit too negative, self-defeating. So let's say, for example, like I said, an anxiety trigger for a lot of people is paying their bills, their rent. For me as well at times, even when I've got the money, it's not really about the money per se. It can be, it's more what the trigger represents, past programming or, you know, dealing with, a lot of the times it's people. I had a chat with a friend about this and I had this realization years ago, and I'll cover it on this channel at some point, where a lot of people get triggered and they get a lot of anxiety around money and spending money or investing money or receiving money. And a lot of it is to do with a broken relationship with other human beings, or a lot of it does come back to getting bullied when you're younger, or somebody saying something about you for either not having enough money or having a lot of money. Whatever the case, it comes back to people again, relationships, which is fascinating. Again, when I'm mentoring clients, it comes up a lot in sessions, and it doesn't surprise me because I've got a bit more experience now in life and teaching, and again, working through my own anxieties, which is an ongoing thing. Like all of you, you learn a bit more, you become aware of why certain things make people anxious and they're triggering, and some things don't. Again, some people, let's just say, for example, I mean this kindly, yes, doing live streams and videos, before I do them, there's times where I can feel anxious, I can feel nervous before I come on. I think that's really normal, but not in the same way where I used to be, or someone that hasn't done it. Some people just go, I couldn't do that. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do YouTube videos and get in front of the camera. I couldn't do that. I'd be too worried about what people are going to say or whether I get criticism, or just wouldn't have the confidence to do that. But I enjoy it. I love it. And I've been doing it for over 10 years. So it's not as triggering for me. I've gotten used to it. It's become exciting, normal. It's not that there's, like now, there's not much happening. There's not much adrenaline, right? Maybe I'm going to speak too soon and have a panic attack live on camera. That'd be interesting. But I've done it so many times, so my body's got used to it. My psychology's adapted to the stress of doing all these videos. But someone that's never done it, understandably, they're going to get a massive trigger of anxiety and worry, because they're going to be worried about, oh my goodness, what if I mess up? What if I make a fool of myself? What are people going to think about me? What if I don't look attractive on camera? How am I going to feel? What's going to come up in me? What sorts of traumas and fears from my past are going to haunt me? So obviously that comes down to them wanting to face that trigger, and that's a big part of this. I'd ask a lot of you the question to help you, not to put pressure on you, and it's not at all a judgment. What is it that you want to achieve? Because if you want it enough, you'll do it, you'll face it. If you're committed enough, you'll do it. So yes, with exposure therapy, the more a person faces a particular anxiety that they've got in their life, it could be an anxiety of spiders or insects, or a certain insect that could just literally make you terrified when you see it, or when you think about it, or you see pictures. the more you expose yourself, I just was going to laugh then. I just got a thought and I should share it. My mind just said, well, that wouldn't be true in the case of great white sharks and going in a cage with tigers and lions. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't, smart ass. Excuse me. But for most things, for some people it could be. Anyway, so my point being, the more you face a triggering anxiety in your life, the less scared you become, the more relaxed you are, which is a beautiful thing. That's success in this area. That's progress. That's what people want, right? That's what we all want. That's what all of you want. So yeah, the more consistently you face it, for some people, I used to be the same till I overcame it. Going to a gymnasium and working out, with around people is massively triggering for them. Terrifying. I understand. I had the same fear and anxiety in my teenage years, in my early 20s. I was petrified of people, petrified of the public, petrified of everything, going to the gym, going to a gymnasium. And I got to a stage like the earlier story that I shared where I wanted to train really bad. I loved Bruce Lee growing up. I loved fitness. I'm going to read your question in a second. Let me read it now. It's so hard to start. And by the way, people, right? Reason I'm crossing my arms. I'm not being defensive. It's because it's cold in here. Surprisingly, it's got really cold. I thought the summer's coming. It's so hard to start when you pass more part of your life hiding from people. This is one of the challenging things about streams, because and I'm patient, because people don't fully write correct grammar or fully explain it. I'm trying to second guess what you mean by that. Appreciate your question. Could you explain a bit more, and then I can help you a bit more reason with what you're saying? I think from what I've read, what you're saying is it's difficult when you've gotten older in your life to then start confronting your fears that you've avoided. Is that what you meant? Please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll try and help you out. Yeah, just for anybody that writes a question, try and be clear, because sometimes I know it's hard because you can't always be bothered to type the questions out and they're meaningful, but I can't always understand them because you might, you're from Brazil, because of the, that's great, because of the way you write it. I've never seen you on my channel. I appreciate you coming on. If you do enjoy my videos, if you want to, it'll be great to subscribe and I can help you more. If this is an area that you want help more in changing your life, facing anxiety, courage, etc. What I would like to start doing, what I'd love to do, I've done it before, but it's been a long time. I'd like to start doing maybe a weekly or a fortnightly Q&A where I can answer your questions in a YouTube video. I can pick out like 5 questions a week and then answer them, because sometimes it's, I don't know why, but it's quite difficult answering questions on a live stream for me. It takes a lot of energy out of me, and I want to do it. I think it's because of the nature of the platform, where if you was in person, I could answer your question, have a conversation, which is why some of you really want to think about coming to my live events. But we'll do the best we can with what we have. So yeah, like I was saying, everyone's got their own triggers which affect them more or less than other people, which is why You really should try not to compare yourself, which isn't an easy thing to do today with social media and all the pressure that's put on so many people, men and women. I would say older and especially younger people. You really want to focus on you, on the progress that you're making, not comparing and saying, well, that person's done a lot more than me and I've only done this. It's like, that's not going to make you happy in life. You're not going to get anywhere like that. It's a better way of viewing it would be, well, actually, if they can do it, then I can do it. Well, I don't have to compare my life to their life, because their life's their life and my life is my life. I can appreciate them though. It's a better way of looking at it. I don't know what it is with the weather today, because it was starting to feel hotter last night. I woke up and it's nice, a bit of heat, and then you go out expecting I thought I'm going to be too hot in this, and then it's cold again. Never mind. I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining. So yeah, with the anxiety triggers, it's it is challenging. It is hard. It is hard for everybody, me included. But that's why I encourage everyone to go for it. You can do it with practice, time, and support. But yeah, any other questions any of you got, let me know. I know a lot of you will watch this live stream as a video, which is good anyway. That's what I love about the live streams, that they go up as a YouTube video anyway. People will watch this weeks from now, months if it's still up. And I appreciate all of you that are going to come on this video. It wouldn't be live, but you're supporting and you're getting value from it. It's helping you. It's giving you the right knowledge and information. You can act on that, put it into practice. I'd be happy as well if it encourages a lot of people to seek the help that they need, whether you go and get therapy, professional help, or a teacher, you get a support group. That would make me really happy, because that is a huge part of changing your life and getting over your anxieties and fears. You need support. Everybody needs support. This jacket, sorry, I've got to stretch all this, all the gym I've been doing. I'm a bit tight. Probably need a massage. Oh, that's better. Stretch out. Yeah, it's like, reminds me of years ago being in the office where your back gets stiff. Okay, it's a good question. So how do you start? Like, what do you do to change? So your question's really good. I really like it. What attitudes do you change with your life? Well, I think the first thing, Gamzee, the first thing that you do if you want to change anything in your life is you've got to make a commitment to want to change, and that would be the first start. And the way that you make a commitment to change any aspect of your life is to really sit down somewhere where you can relax as best as you can, clear your head, calm your anxiety down and your worrying and your thinking, whether it's at home, in a park, wherever it may be. Find somewhere on planet Earth, in Brazil, where you can sit down. I'm doing it right now. Really get focused and grateful and present, and think about what it is that you want to change in your life. This is the process that I certainly did when I made big changes in my life in my mid to late 20s, and at another stage of my life in my kind of early to mid 30s, and now I'm 40, going through some other changes. So you got to really get focused, and the commitment can't just be like verbal, and this is not saying that you're doing this, this is what is human nature. We can't just say, I want to change. We have to mean it. It has to be from the heart. I know it's quite deep, this. Shut up, I get these voices saying I'm cheesy. Maybe I am cheesy. Who cares? I'm trying to help people. Intrusive thought coming. It's got to be from your spirit. You've really got to make a commitment to change. That's the first thing that you do, and then you take steps towards doing it. And I've seen that with myself to begin with. I've seen it with the clients that I've mentored that have been successful at changing their life. And I've observed it with other people that inspire me, my friends, my mentors, lots of you, other people that I meet in throughout my walk of life. That's the first start. Now, part of that can be writing it down, setting goals. I want to change my life. Okay, you can be clearer. What part of your life do you want to change? Just for example, some people might say, I want to lose weight. Can't handle it no more. I don't want to be overweight. So I want to change my life, and to be specific, I want to lose 20 pounds in weight. Great. Write it down. Speak about it. If you're a person of faith, pray. Speak to someone who cares, a friend or a mentor. Get it out. Start to work towards doing that. That's how you do it. So you make a commitment, Gamzee, as I said. Now, part of making that commitment might be at a certain point that you're too scared to make that commitment, that's okay. That's okay. That happens, right? It's not what you want, but you're not going to be there forever. You might be at a place where you say, I'm too scared at the moment to make that commitment. I'm not ready to face the things that I need to face, the things that making a commitment to change my life would require me to face. That's also helpful too, the honesty. Just try that now. But at some point, when I feel the time is right, I'm going to go for it. That's also another part of making a commitment. There's no shame. There's no shame in saying, you know what, right now, I'm too scared to do it. It's good to have honesty, because you can get some strength from that, and eventually you will be able to do it. There's things in my life right now that I want to do, but I'm too afraid to do it. I can't find the courage right now, today, but I will find it. Sound like that song. But if you're not honest about that, then you're going to feel trapped, stuck, frustrated. It's going to hold you back. So the honesty is a huge part of making a commitment to change your life, or a certain aspect of your life, whatever that change is for you. So I hope that helps. I'm glad that you got it. I'm glad you understand. And as I've said as well, I would really think about you. I said this to Gamzee and many people, getting support and help, because often people don't get the help they need. They don't invest in mentors, teachers, therapists, professionals, or a group, or positive people that can help you and support you for a period of time to make that change. Because if you're not able to do it on your own, and if you've been stuck for 10, 20 years, 15 years, 5 years, then it isn't working. And there's no shame at all. That's how I changed, by getting mentors, and I mentor other people. So getting a mentor is a smart thing to do to change your life. So changing your life requires making a commitment, being honest, and getting the help and support you need to give you the extra strength that you can give to yourself to achieve that particular goal. But yeah, back to the original subject. Yeah, if you want to change your life, then you can't escape. Everybody has to face at some point their anxieties and fears. Change can't happen without a person working through their anxiety triggers and their fears. and their traumas and their doubts. But if you're okay with that, which I'm trying to help you to be okay with it and accept it, then you can do it. If you stop judging yourself and being ashamed and realize that everybody's got fears, fear is part of being human. It's nothing that it's not a failure. I've said it many times. Many people a lot wiser than me have said the same. Go online, you'll hear it. But if you don't hear it properly and you don't act on it and build that relationship with fear and anxiety, then you're not going to change, because you're going to keep yourself stuck in your life or in your pattern of negative thinking, and you're going to behave from that. And a lot of the times, one of the biggest things that holds people back that I see, and I've been mentoring people now for 12 years, is that they don't take enough action in their life. They don't live a committed life because their fears and their anxieties keep them stuck and trapped, and they are unable to build some level of tolerance to uncertainty and the unknown and challenge and being uncomfortable. All those things are part of what we're talking about today: changing your life and facing your anxiety triggers and developing more courage and having more acceptance with your fears, your insecurities, and having the courage and the strength to talk about them and be okay with what other human beings are going to think or say. All these things are they're all in relationship with one another. But it can sound like a lot of things, but when you boil it down, it's pretty straightforward. You find the courage to face the things that frighten you, and you do that again and again and again for as long as you have to do it, want to do it, need to do it, choose to do it. And that's how you change your life. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Is it painful at times? Yes, it is. But can you do it? Yes, you can. So many people have done it. I'm one of them. My clients have done it. Some of you have done it. So no one. If other people can do it, then so can you. We'll finish up last few minutes now. Pleased that we've got an hour, because I just planned today to do maybe even half an hour, 40 minutes before I head out. A lot of people, I'll talk about this in another video, I often wonder this. A lot of people say the hardest part about changing your life is getting started, whether it's starting a new diet, it's building a business, it's moving, it's changing, it's facing fears, it's getting therapy, it's getting mentors and things like that. And although I agree with that, I don't think it's the hardest part. I think the hardest part is not giving up when things get difficult, because at the start, yes, it's kind of like right and wrong, wrong and right, depending on how you see it, right? So there is no, but I'd often think from my experience of mentoring people every week, facing my own anxieties for years now, that the start, yes, it is scary when you start something new, because you're a beginner. You don't have experience and you don't know what to expect, and you're scared of failing and you're scared of pain. And that is hard, but once you do it, you make progress. But I think what's harder is to be consistent when you get a bit further down from the start, if that makes sense. Somewhere in the middle where the challenges start to come and things don't go the way that you expect them to, and challenges come in from all angles from life. That's the hardest part, I believe. I really do. Because a lot of people get excited at the start on a new diet because it's like, yes, I'm going to make these changes, I'm going to do it, and they really believe it, and that's great. And they eat healthy for a day, but when the weeks start to come, it gets harder and harder, because of course, have you got the stamina? Can you keep going? So just a little bit more explanation on what it entails to change. Right, I'm going to end on a practice for people to help them, right? I would say just try to practice facing little anxieties, things that make you a bit anxious, but they're not too overwhelming to the point where it's too much stress. I'd say start with that. So maybe make a list of 3 things today that scare you a little bit and make you a bit nervous, anxious, but you can do them. They're not debilitating. Do those things, and that will give you some confidence and courage and strength to eventually then go on and take on the bigger anxieties that you've got in your life, the ones that are a lot more triggering. Does that make sense? So we practice, like we were talking today, Gamzee, we practice just slowly taking one step towards changing our life, not trying to do everything because that's too much pressure. And then when you get more experience, you can face bigger fears and anxieties. On that note, I'll end it on that note. I really appreciate everyone coming onto the stream. I actually really enjoyed it. Didn't expect to enjoy it today, and that's always a lovely thing. I'm going to do more videos and more mentorship programs and a lot more other live streams coming soon. All right, so have a good day, everyone. I'll speak to all of you soon. Bye.